one of Crestview's worst eyesores could soon disappear and be replaced with dozens of parking spots and possibly new office space and multi-purpose facility.
And of course, what's on the agenda for the Tuesday meeting, which is an 8:30 morning meeting, I believe, will be a purchase of some property. And you can see the property in the background here. This has been known, I guess, by a lot of folks as the old Piggly Wiggly building. The agenda is 916 pages, folks, and of it, there are about 75 pages just dealing with this. The appraisal that was done, photos inside, and it's in bad shape inside, and the outside, and all the property things. So what will happen? What do you see this building? Why would the county need this?
Well, as many folks know, in downtown Crestview, there's a parking problem, and there's certainly a perception of a parking problem. One of those challenges is in and around the courthouse facility. And as we go through the process of rebuilding the new courthouse, which will be much larger than the original facility to provide for both today's needs and needs in the future, there's going to be a future need for parking. So this facility is conveniently located to serve as overflow parking for both the courthouse facility and for the Bracken building, which we're just across from, which serves as offices for the tax collector and for the property appraiser, for the supervisor of elections, and for the county commissioners.
So do you have an idea about how many parking spaces this amount of land will provide?
No, we'll leave that to our engineering staff to work up all of those estimates. But the facility, the expectation is that the building will come down, and that will open up the entirety of the site for additional parking capacity. As you can see from the background, the building's in very bad shape. It's not been maintained in recent years, and so it's got substantial roof issues. It's begun leaking, and the reality is the building is probably past the point where it could reasonably be restored or recovered. And so I think the acquisition of this building, while I never like to see property coming off the tax rolls, it's going to be important to be able to provide that capacity for the governmental functions that are necessary here in downtown Crestview.
Well, I see that the property appraiser had it, according to the information on the agenda, at about $213,000 or so. It looks like, from what I read, that the folks here at the Powell Group, a title company, acquired this really in a tax certificate sale sometime back.
Actually, I'm not sure of that exact history. My understanding was they had paid about $100,000 for it. I could be wrong about that. The current appraisal that the county got, I believe, was $220,000, if I remember correctly. And we're actually under contract for a bit under that, I think at $195, give or take. So we're getting the property for slightly less than appraised value, which is a good deal for the citizen, and we'll see substantial improvement in both the look and the functionality of this parcel in downtown Crestview very soon.
So if the county commission approves this at their Tuesday morning meeting, what will be the next step after you do all the closing and get the check written? What happens after that?
So once a building is owned by government, there's certainly a process that has to be followed, and so we'll likely do an asbestos survey to make sure there's no asbestos that needs to be removed. And then the expectation is that we'll either use in-house county staff from one of our departments for the demolition or get outside bids from contractors. We'll determine what's the most advantageous for the taxpayer's dollar, and the building will be demolished, and we'll begin with the process of implementing a plan to utilize the facility for parking in the short term.
Probably have to do some concrete removal, and we ought to get a new parking surface down here.
The good thing is it's not terribly expensive to demo a building these days, and you're absolutely right. Both the parking area and the building itself will have to come down. But I think what we'll have when all that's finished is a good, well-functioning parking facility. Hopefully, a bit of green space to kind of dress up downtown.
Okay. In addition to using this property for parking in the immediate near future, there's some possibility that with using CRA project working with this could become a building with parking still underneath it, maybe on this piece of property, or some other use for a building here that the county and the city can make use of?
In the last year, there's been several instances of the city and the county partnering together on some projects. And so I'm optimistic that this project may well be an opportunity for the city using their CRA funding and for the county to partner together. The county is going to go ahead with the acquisition, provided that my fellow commissioners approve. And I think that the short-term immediate need is to provide for some additional parking capacity. But looking ahead to the future, there's likely going to need to be some additional administrative space. And if anybody who's been to the tax collector's office in Crestview in the last year can attest, the wait times are the longest in that office as they are of any of the tax collector's offices across the county, and they are at capacity. And so there will need to be some additional space in the future. This piece of land could potentially provide that location where a new facility could be constructed to help to house some of those offices once we outgrow the existing footprint.
we'll look to the future. But for downtown Crestview, one eyesore will probably be gone within the year.
Yes, sir. That's what we're hoping for.